All right, folks, welcome. Welcome to the deep dive. Deep dive on NotebookLM, one of the newer tools out there, one of the newer AI tools out there. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your support, Michelle. Thank you for that. You could be anywhere, but you're here during this PD session. Thank you so much. So I've never led this session before. I'm really excited about it. Welcome to the deep dive, NotebookLM. So this session was created in collaboration with Google for Education. So Danita Morgan's going to be joining us shortly. I don't know how she does it. She is in charge of leading the Google initiatives for New York City public schools, as well as other large school districts in the Northeast. Superhuman. My name is Santi Kairasamy. I'm the founder of a company called Project Recess. We've been doing this for over 13 years, supporting schools way back when we had that training space up in Harlem. Shout out to HRTC if you remember that. So we are the official Google PD provider for New York City, leading these sessions. Yes, you will be getting CTLE credits. If you have a PD line in your school's budget, feel free to reach out. Happy to support you. Oh, and this year we were recognized among quite literally thousands of other companies as the Google Cloud Partner of the Year for the work that we're doing specifically with New York City. So shout outs to New York for all the great work that we're doing. Why are we here today? I've been asking this question. If you've answered this already, indulge me, bear with me here. Please share in the chat. What is a technology or innovation that you thought was all hype at first, but has now won you over? Yeah, thanks, Shira. Is it indoor plumbing? Is it the TV VCR combo? Is it AI, ChatGPT, Wi-Fi? Man, shout outs to Wi-Fi, microwave. I'm waiting for someone to say the air fryer, which I'm a big fan. Thank you, Jennifer in there. Definitely use the air fryer more than my oven these days. Cell phone, okay, great. Feel free to put it in there. Um, yes, we are capturing attendance. I'm going to show you at the end how to submit your attendance to Protrax. We'll go over all that fun stuff. So cell phones, AirPods, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes. So all of these pieces of technology that you may be hesitant about, but now you find this like value. So it's like the same with AI. You all see where I'm going with this. So as our perspectives evolve, let's learn to adapt and be open to Gen AI as a tool to support our work. MP3 players, I think they're coming back. I heard the Zune was coming back. Who remembers the Zune? What is AI? And I have a slide deck. I don't want to go off the slide deck for this whole presentation. I want us to dive into Notebook LM. So I'm going to be skipping some things, but just to set the foundation, yes, we're talking about AI, which are computer programs that do cognitive tasks that a human would do, like create a lesson plan, create an agenda. Now, the past, I'll say 3 years, we've really been talking about generative AI. And this is a type of AI that can create new content, right? Such as text, images, etc. So Google Gemini, Google's version, dare I say it, of ChatGPT, we led sessions today that go over how that tool can be used to create different things. This tool, Notebook LM, is a little bit different. Um, should I do this? I feel like we did this already. All right. Indulge me. How many years did it take each one of these things here to reach 50 million users? Feel free to put it in the chat. What do you think? Airplanes. How long did it take for 50 million people to use airplanes? We got some very accurate answers now. Okay. Um, okay, Danita, yes, I will add you as a host. 68 years. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hold on. So think about the next one, internet. How long did it take to reach 50 million users? Hold on one second, panelists, and then I'm just making sure Danita can be in here. I think I did it. Okay. And then I think I need to promote you one more time to make co-host. Okay. I wonderful. Thank you, Danita. All right. Back in business. All right, internet, 50 million users, 7 years. Facebook, shout out to the folks who had the original Facebook when it was the Facebook, 2004, pictures of cats and children, 3 years. Lastly, Gen AI, how long did it take? 50 million users, 5 weeks. Alexander, right, right on, right, nail on the head right there. 5 weeks. One of the fastest growing platforms ever. Why? Because it can help you no matter what your background is. If you're an educator, if you're a mechanic at a garage, if you are a pastry chef at a restaurant, these tools, these generative AI tools like Gemini, are trained on every piece of writing on the internet. So if you ask it the right questions, it can help you do your job faster, better, be more engaging, etc. Danita, feel free to jump in whenever you want.
No, I absolutely love it. Super excited to be here with you all. I work here at Google. And yes, as Santi mentioned, yeah, Gemini is going to be able to support you on all things. And we've created Gemini with data protections and safety in mind. So just everything that you're going through and learning about today actually has those data protections added, and it's treated the same way as Google Classroom and Google Docs. Nothing is being used to train the model, and there's no human oversight as well. Back to you, Santi.
Thank you. So this morning, we led two sessions focused on Gemini. So just briefly, I just want to share, if you don't know it already, Gemini is available to every staff member in New York City. That in itself is huge. That in itself is huge. So as Danita was saying, one of the many benefits of using Gemini is that it went through this rigorous security process. So all of the data that you feel comfortable using in your Outlook email or in your school Google Drive, you can feel rest assured that you can use that same information in your Gemini when you are logged into your at schools account. So definitely test out using Gemini. Make sure that you're in your DOE account. That being said, today, the focus of it, and it's also IRMA approved if folks are familiar with that. The focus of today is NotebookLM, one of my favorite AI tools. If you've used it before, it's amazing. Actually, if you've used it before, maybe a thumbs up in the chat if you've used Notebook LM before. I'm curious to know who's used this tool. And if you've not used it, you're in for a treat. Okay. So yeah, thumbs up in the chat if you've used Notebook LM. I'm gonna guess nobody used. Okay. All right. Jira. Yes. Okay. So thanks very much. Three people have used it here. So okay, oh, very nice. Okay, so if we think about these two systems, Gemini and NotebookLM, what's the difference? So you would use Gemini to create new content, leveraging the power of AI, pulling information from the internet. Okay, so Gemini would be great. And again, if you're new to this, I'm signed into my school's account. To get to Gemini, it's gemini.google.com. Okay. And Danita, I'll make sure you let me know if I'm not sharing my screen in the right way. But gemini.google.com. All right. So we're here. Let's say you want to ask it to help you create a lesson plan. So you could say, sixth grade teacher, I want you to help me create a 40-minute lesson plan focused on Mesopotamia. And I also want you to include supports for English language learners in my class who speak Spanish. So you could give a prompt like that to Gemini. All right. So if I hit enter, again, it's pulling from the knowledge of the internet to create something related to my prompt. Okay. So here's my lesson plan. And then the whole idea is that you go back and forth with it to make sure that it's giving you a lesson plan that makes sense for your class, etc. Okay. So that's a Gemini. So the focus of today is on this tool called NotebookLM. So NotebookLM, and that's notebooklm.google.com. It's this page. So I'd love for you all, if you want to follow along with me, open up, make sure you're signed into your DOE account and you go to NotebookLM, open up a new tab, notebooklm.google.com. And if you're signed into your Google account and all the stars are aligned, then you should see a screen that looks similar to this. Okay, so as Danita mentioned, NotebookLM also has gone through the IRMA approval process. So feel confident that you can put in information related to, your students or uploading a piece of the curriculum, maybe, a chapter from HMH or Wit and Wisdom and using that. So the difference is that Gemini, it's creating new things using the knowledge from the internet. NotebookLM, you have to upload your own sources to it. So if you create a new notebook, I'm going to click on this. It's asking me to put sources in there. And that could be a PDF that's on my computer. It could be, documents that's in my Google Drive, my at schools Google Drive. Maybe I have something in there. It can also be, let me go back. It can also be a link to a website or a YouTube video or copied text, or you can even discover sources. So the whole idea is that you upload sources into NotebookLM, and then you have this power of Gemini chat, and it's only giving you responses based on those sources. Okay, and that's a game changer right there. So sometimes these AI systems will what's called hallucinate. So what that means is that it may give you information that is not always accurate. It might give you information that might include biases in it because these systems are trained on information online which may have those things in there. But if you're using something like NotebookLM and you're uploading just your own specific resources, the chances of hallucinations are low because it's only pulling from that. Okay, so that's the difference. Gemini, you're creating new things, pulling things from the internet. NotebookLM, you're uploading your own sources to it. Okay, so for this particular notebook, we led a huge training for the assistive tech department for New York City schools. So for this example, this particular notebook, I only uploaded one source, and that was their family guide, right? So the whole purpose of this guide is for families to go through it and develop a better understanding of the assistive tech process for New York City schools. So this guide, it was like 10 pages or something, very dense information. So the example I'm using here um, is that, okay, I uploaded one source. And when I uploaded that source, I have the Gemini chat down here. I'm zooming in my window. Danita, do you see it when I'm zooming in?
No, we can see the full screen right now.
Oh,
Where
okay,
you're
okay,
choosing.
okay,
Yep.
okay. It's all good.
You can see like a blue circle if that's what you're looking
Gotcha.
to
Okay.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't really zoom in. It just shows
Okay.
that blue circle so we know where you're
Okay.
at.
Thank you so much. So apologies if you can't see it. We're gonna share the recording. You'll be able to zoom in there. But it's once I upload this source, it's suggesting questions at the bottom. Before we get into that even deeper, let's all create a notebook, okay? If you want to follow along and you don't want to create one, totally fine. But if you want to interact with this, let's do that. So we are all we're all signed into our DOE account. Open up a new tab. You go to notebooklm.google.com, or if you're feeling fancy, you want to click on the waffle up there, and then you should see the Notebook LM icon. It's probably going to be at the bottom of your screen. You can click on that and it'll take you here. So go ahead and click create new notebook. All right. So it should give you something like this. Um, Shout outs to Common Sense Media. They've been putting some really great reports. I'm going to upload something on there. Common Sense Media reports. Digital citizen research. Okay. I'm going to use this as an example. So on Common, if I'm going to download this report from Common Sense Media on media use by tweens in 2021. So I'm just going to download this, okay? But right now, I want you all just to think of a source that you want to put into this notebook. All right, I'm going to go back. All right. So think of a source. It could be your curriculum, it could be your lesson plans, it could be something. Think of a source you want to put into a notebook. So I'm going to create a new notebook. All right, Antonio, third time's a charm. Glad you're in. I'm gonna choose what I'm gonna upload. So I'm gonna choose a file. Okay, so I'm gonna choose this PDF. Again, you can choose whatever you want, but go ahead and add a resource in here. Again, maybe it's your curriculum, maybe it's a lesson plan, maybe it's a report. But for this particular one, it's a Common Sense Media report. When you upload that, go ahead, Danita.
I was also just going to say, if you don't have anything you want to add and you're feeling uncertain, you can always go to Discover and then you can type in a topic, or you can go through Google Drive and then upload sources directly there as well.
Okay, let's test out what that looks like just to show everybody one more time. So thank you, Danita, for that. If you want to find more sources, say you create a new notebook, there's something that says discover sources up here. And so if I want to say teaching recommendations for Ls who speak Spanish and focused on middle school. Okay, so you can type in discover sources and then it'll offer you sources that you can use for NotebookLM. I think I Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so by default, these are all selected. You can also deselect and just choose which ones. And, you go through and see which ones you like, which ones make sense to you or are relevant to you. And again, that was in discover sources. But in this case, I'm using this report and it's already giving me an overview of this text. Okay. Joy has a good question. All this information is yours. It's technically yeah, I'll let Danita respond to that, but that's a
I
good
was just
question.
gonna say, yeah, everything that is created by you is owned by you. So just like when you're using Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Drive, you own that data. And you being New York City Public Schools, right, you're creating it under their account. So technically it's also proprietary to your school districts. But either way, none of it is owned by Google. So when you're using NotebookLM, the same rules apply. Gemini and NotebookLM both sit under the same guidelines stating that anything that you create is owned by you, as well as anything that you create is not being used to train the model. There's no human oversight. So all of those checks and balances are already in place, just as when you're using all of your Google products as well.
Shared documents. So if I add something from Drive, yeah, there's a shared with me button. So yeah, you can use shared documents. Again, this is linked to your DOE Drive. So if you wanted to use shared documents, you would just add a source, click on Google Drive, and then you would go to shared with me. You know,
And can you go to add real quick and just like, let's just look at that screen one moment. Okay.
yeah,
So Santi chose to upload a source where he chose a file, but you see, you can use Google Drive, but also under link,
right.
just to
I
keep
could have,
it.
yeah, I could have copied this link and then I could have
Just
clicked
to
the,
show, yeah, I was just gonna show the screen even, like, just keep showing that frame of, like, all the options. Go back one from website URLs.
say again, please.
Yeah, go
Uh,
back. Yep, click
okay.
that.
Yeah.
Yep, and leave it here real quick. Okay, so you can do links where you have YouTube links or website links. You can do Google Drive files. You can even copy text. So if you just want to copy text and pull it in, or you can upload files. So if you had MP4 or MP3 files that you wanted to upload, those are all the different types of sources that you can submit. So there's been a lot of questions around different kinds. When you're in this screen and in this panel, feel comfortable to click around and look at different things. I have pointed directly to my LinkedIn website and played around with that. So there's a lot you can do. And then, as with all things Google, we want to inspire curiosity as well with regard to our AI. So that's where that discover sources, because maybe you don't have any sources in mind and you don't want to use your curriculum website or your curricular resources that you already have. That's where you can go discover and learn new. So just wanted to show that full screen and kind of break that down for you.
Absolutely. Thank you. So once your source is in there, it's going to analyze that document and it's going to give you a summary of it in this main chat window here in the middle. And you can interact with this chat. So it has some questions that it's going to suggest at the bottom. So for example, how it's suggesting this question down here. How did media usage patterns, specifically screen time, change for tweens during the pandemic? So if I click on that, it's going to analyze the document. And again, this is not pulling from the internet. This is pulling its answer directly from the uploaded source or sources. If you have multiple sources, it'll give you an answer related to the sources that you uploaded. And one of the many things I appreciate about this is, yes, it's grounded in the information that you upload, but there's also citations telling you where it's pulling it from. So if you click on these like citation numbers down here, it'll tell you where in that guide, where in your source it's pulling this information from. Okay, so it's giving you a statistic here about screen time usage with teens. And if you click on this, it's telling you where, again, in that guide it's pulling from. And so this chat is really powerful in terms of understanding insights from these sources, these multiple sources. And so you can continue to have that chat. You can ask your own questions. There are suggested questions at the bottom. And then in addition to that, what has been really popular among everyone really who's using these tools is if you look here on the right, you have your studio. And so this is where you can create that podcast that you may have heard about before. And so this can create a very real sounding podcast of two people talking about the content that you just uploaded. And that's the audio overview. And so if you click on it, it'll make the overview. So before I click on that, I just want to highlight this pencil over here. That's a new feature that came out very recently. So if you click on that, you can customize what this audio overview sounds like. First of all, let me just play an audio overview for you all in case you've not heard it before. So let me just go back to a different notebook where I have an audio overview. So again, this is a family guide, and this is the audio overview that was created from it. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're really cracking open a key
You guys hear that? Yes.
topic for families navigating the school system: assistive technology, or AT, and also accessible educational materials, AEM. Our mission really is to cut through the bureaucratic noise and get you the strategic knowledge you need to make sure your student gets meaningful access to their curriculum, which is legally required, right?
Exactly. That access, it's the whole point. The Department of Education's foundational goal here is making sure every single student can achieve their potential. And AT and AEM, well, they aren't just optional extra.
So yeah, somebody in the chat just put this is wild. Yes. Yes, this is wild. Yes, this is insane. So I want you all to experience the wildness and insanity of this. So go back to that notebook that you where you just uploaded your source and go ahead and click on audio overview. So if you click on that, it's going to take some time. Give it a few minutes. Think of this as a cooking show, right? So you're going to need a few minutes for this to work. So that, Stephen, I hope that's what you're asking. So the process for creating this podcast, you create your notebook, you upload your source or sources, and then you click on audio overview, and it will create that podcast. Okay. And so it's going to do that. If you wanted to modify how this podcast can take shape, and what do I mean by modify that? If I click on this pencil, you can, by default, it's called deep dive, right? And it's not a coincidence that the name of this session is the deep dive. So this is the this is the traditional podcast that you have. They're doing a deep dive summary into what the content is. You can have a brief, a bite-sized overview, a critique, an expert review of your sources, or a debate, a thoughtful debate between two hosts. And check this out, folks. This is amazing. You can change the language to one of over 50 languages. By default, it's English. You can change it so they're speaking Spanish, talking about this. Maybe you have some students that, are speaking Latin, Icelandic, Polish, what have you. You can choose any of these languages. We've done sessions where we've updated the language to be Spanish. The, the pronunciations are really good. So you can test that out. Okay. I kind of want to try one. Let me change it to Spanish. Hopefully it'll finish in time. Okay, so look, now I have two things cooking at the same time. It's going to take a few minutes, all right? So you're going to have to bear with me on that one. But looking at the other things that you can create in the studio, in addition to creating the audio overview, you can create a video overview. And this is pretty wild also. So as this is going, I'm just going to switch to a different notebook I have. I'm going to go back to the assistive technology one. So that was the podcast that we were listening to. So again, what is a video overview? Here, I uploaded it to YouTube just to have on the ready. Um, so let me make sure that, okay. Hold on one second. Okay, Danita, you see my YouTube screen, right? Okay, thank you so much. All right, so I'm gonna play this. This is the video overview that you can also create in NotebookLM.
Always looking for ways to give your child every possible tool to succeed in school. Well, today, we're diving into one of the most powerful tools out there, assistive technology. Think of this as your personal guide to unlocking that potential.
This is really the big question, isn't it? It's the one that so many of us, parents, educators, are constantly thinking complicated computers. But assistive technology can be as low-tech as a simple slanted board to help with writing or education plan. All right, so now that we've got a really clear picture of what assistive technology is, the next question is obvious, right? How do you actually start the process to get these tools for your child?
So that's pretty amazing. It created this video where it's not a podcast anymore. It's a single narrator talking about the content that we just uploaded, and it created these images. So, as we all know, generative AI can create more than just text. It can also create images and audio. So, it's taking that same technology and it's adding images to this text that we put in there. It's giving us a timeline. You have that narrator talking about all these different things. It broke it up into titles. You have the voice in there.
Day in and day out. I know a big worry for parents is, okay, we have this device.
So that's pretty wild. Yes, and it's insane. You can take this PDF and turn it into this. And so just take a second and think about what else can you do that with. As an educator, you can take your lesson plan, you can put it into NotebookLM, and you can create these audio overviews in a different language, and you can share these with your students. Or maybe you yourself want to improve your background knowledge on a specific subject or area. Maybe you need to brush up on your, I don't know, World War II information. So you can take some content that has that, put it in here. You can create flashcards, a quiz, or the audio overview, and then listen to this summary as you're on your way home or something. And then you can create these video overviews. And so I know somebody mentioned in the chat, can you change the voice? You can't really change the voice. You can just change at this moment, just like what the language is, what the podcast hosts, like how long the podcast is, but you could include what they focus on. And the thing is, these tools are evolving so quickly. So this customization of the audio overview, this is very new. It's like less than a month old. And so maybe perhaps there will be an option to update the voices. You can always submit feedback. But right now you do have some pretty good controls over how to modify this. I'm curious to know what the flashcards look like. I'm going to click on that. And so again, it's going to generate those flashcards. As that's going, I'm going to go back to the other notebook I have with that common sense report. It's still going. So the audio overview, the video overview, they take some time to create. Okay. But as that's going, I do want to demonstrate one more thing, and then we'll see if anybody has any questions. Let me just go back to this assistive tech one. So there's a pretty cool feature here called interactive.
They are often required components, actually.
Okay, so what does this mean? So I have the podcast in there, and if I play it, it'll play the podcast, but there's there's an option for me to join, pause them speaking, and ask a question. What's that sound like? Let's see.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really cracking open a key topic for families navigating to school. Oh, wait, someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Hi, I'm Santi from New York, and I'm curious to know how to request an evaluation for my child.
Santi, that is an excellent question.
And thank you for chiming in.
We were just about to cover exactly that.
Knowing the procedure is truly empowering.
Since you're joining us from New York, we can use the exact process laid out in our guide.
The process starts with the parent.
You have the right to request a free AT evaluation for your child at any time.
Even if your child doesn't currently have an IEP or a 504 plan?
The actual request itself is a two-step process you need to follow precisely.
First, you must prepare a formal written request.
It can be typed or handwritten.
Be sure
That's insane. All right, so you can break the fourth wall and start interacting with them. Okay, and it's the same thing as like having a chat, with the chat in the middle. But Danita, please.
I was just going to name that we've seen a lot of schools and a lot of teachers actually have their notebook up at the front of the class as a display for everyone in the class to see. So then as they're going through and teaching their lessons, students can come up and then actually select the interactive mode and ask a question. They also can come up and do like a prompt and ask a question in the chat, but making it be such that you have your whole students or your class being a part of this as well. So as you're waiting for students to have direct access, this is another way that you can introduce them. Another thing I was also going to name is you are able to, as a teacher, download these audio overviews, download these video overviews, and then share them with your students. So a lot of teachers, what we're seeing now is they'll have their slide deck that goes through their curricular content for their lesson. And then within that slide deck or within a newsletter that you're sending to parents, you have the little icon, right, that you can click and now you can listen. So it's just really supporting different modalities of different groups of people who you're looking to support. So just kind of naming a few different ways that you can go about using NotebookLM in the classroom directly, as well as with your parent and guardian community.
Yeah. I don't think there's a link to this in Teach Hub. So you're just gonna have to open up a new tab and just go to notebooklm.google.com. Yeah, through your school's account. Thank you, Danita. But yeah, so maybe your oh, okay. Maybe your audio overviews are done now, so you can go ahead and check. I'm gonna test this one out. Again, we'll see what it sounds like.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into something pretty significant a source, the 2021 Common Sense Census Report on media use.
Okay, so it never fails to amaze how this works. Okay, so think about what information you think you could benefit from in terms of like uploading sources to a notebook, in terms of like creating these audio overviews, these video overviews. I want to call attention up here. You can share these notebooks. Again, this is a Google tool and it's all about collaboration. So if I click on this share button, I can share this notebook with other people within my organization. And now we can collaborate on this notebook together. So again, so let's say, you're working with another person from your science department and you want to create a notebook on a specific, process or area. You can add them in here and then you can either have them have access to the full notebook or just chat only. That's interesting, but know that there are collaboration features built into NotebookLM.
Can you also click the chat only feature just so that people can see? Because there was a question around like, what's the difference between this version and the pro version? And just click preview, Santi, next to the chat only. Yep, so you can see what it looks like. So now we get rid of all the noise, right? So on the sides, you're unable to see like the sources that was pulled up. You're unable to see the actual studio to be able to create audio overviews. But essentially what you'd be doing is sharing that chat. And if Santi would ask a question like, what color is the sky? Or, when did we reach the moon? Whatever the case may be, those questions will not be answered because they are not found in the sources that Santi has uploaded. So essentially, this is only going to pull and draw its information from what you've submitted. So it's a really great use case for students to be able to leverage and use it.
I love this. I've not used this before. I'm learning something right now. This is awesome. Um, oh yeah, this is
But
great.
wait, this is what I meant to say. So people were asking, what's the difference between the license and not having the license? So you do need the license to have the chat only feature.
Oh,
So
whoops.
being able to have that chat, I'll be able to have that chat only view. That's when you tap in to the license. Now you could share a notebook where students and or staff members and colleagues cannot manipulate your sources. So you can share it, but they are going to get that other view. If you want this view where it's literally just that chat experience, that's going to be behind that license. And then also you are able to create audio overviews, but you're limited to 3 per day as it relates to creating those podcasts. Whereas, and that's 3 per day per notebook, I believe. I don't know. And Ken, one of my colleagues is on the call as well. But in terms of, there were questions around like, well, what's the differences if I were to go pro versus if I had this as it relates to NotebookLM? Those are the only 2 main differences. And then you also have the ability to see analytics on like how frequently that chat is being used. So it's per notebook. So that's great. Thank you, Ken. So you can only create 3 audio overviews per individual notebook per day. So you can go back in and create more audio overviews if you want to do multiple languages. You would just have to wait a day if you're doing more than 3 in one.
Wow, this is awesome. And in this chat only mode, can people outside of New York City schools access this chat?
They will be able to once you have it publicly available. So we have on the consumer account already, you're able to do that. But as of now, it's going to be within your domain experience that you're able to do that. But that's coming.
That's great. That's great. So thank you, Danita. So
You can
know that
also, I was just because we're doing a deep dive. You can also do if you click that share, this is
Yeah.
something that you could do even for everyone. So with the full notebook, you can do a welcome note. So if you want to create guidance on how to
Mm.
use your notebook, so you can say this notebook is for XYZ, or this notebook is diving into common sense, whatever the topic is that you're covering, just so that the people who are using it understand exactly, you can create that additional entry level experience with regard to welcoming them to the notebook that they're using.
Okay. Very, very cool. Very cool. Um, what questions are we seeing in the chat? Anything?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. I don't know if you want to show quickly just classroom.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Oh, we'll show that later. Okay. Oh, yeah. I didn't know if you were doing it. Oh, yeah. So if you go into Classroom, you are able to create we'll go into like one of your classes or create a new one, wherever you want to go. And then go to Classwork, Santi, real quick, because we're getting this question a lot. So if you go to Classwork within Classroom, yeah, and then create. So you see how you're able to create a notebook in Classroom. So that's something that you're all going to see. But I want to let you know. So you can create a new one. You can pick one that you've already created. You can grab content from your Google Classroom. Google, we are making it fully integrated. Another way that we really separate ourselves. Again, we have a full Google for Education team grounding everything we do in education directly. And Classroom is that hub where you spend a lot of your time as well. So we're going to keep that included. But I do want to name and make sure you're aware, you are going to see it, but your students will not be able to actually open up that notebook and engage, and they won't be able to open up a gem and engage until they have access. So it's similar to if you share a doc file, or if you give someone a doc file but they're not shared on it, they can't see it and use it. They'll see it in your classroom, but they're not going to be able to actually access it until you've gone through the approval to actually make it be available for your students. So I just wanted to name that as well. But it's
Thank you.
coming. We're just working on making sure that, I think individual principals can make those requests through a DIT ticket, but it has to be at the principal level because New York City wants to make sure that your principal approves of what you're doing.
And that's so great to know that integration is in Classroom. And then I'm just going to go there just once more. Like if you're new to this, so Google Classroom, we're all familiar with it. Yes, there is a new Gemini tab built in, and there are all of these different ways you can leverage Gemini within Google Classroom. So you can create a rubric, outline a lesson plan, you can re-level text, generate a quiz. I'm currently in a pilot where you can generate a presentation. This has been super popular. So a lot of things here. So feel free to test out all of these different Gemini options that are built into Google Classroom in your DOE Google Classroom. Again, I'm signed in with my @schools account. Okay. So at this point in your notebooks that you created, hopefully the audio overviews have been established. Oh, here, check it out. This one's in Spanish. Let's see how well our co-host speaks Spanish.
Hola, hoy nos metemos de lleno en un mundo que, bueno, ha cambiado a una velocidad increíble. ¿Cómo usan los medios nuestros jóvenes? La pandemia, claro, aceleró tendencias que ya venían de antes, ¿no? Y las pantallas se volvieron, pues eso, omnipresentes en sus vidas. Y ahora parece que empezamos a entender un poco mejor el impacto real de todo aquello. Vamos a explorar el consumo de medios de chicos y chicas, entre 8 y 18 años, en Estados Unidos. Nos basamos en un estudio muy completo, el Common Sense Census, y lo interesante es que compara datos de finales de 2021 con los de 2019, o sea, justo antes de que todo cambiara. Son datos de EU, sí, pero seguro que muchas tendencias nos suenan bastante familiares aquí también. El objetivo, pues, es ver cómo han cambiado sus hábitos fuera de clase.
I wonder if the other person is in there. They should be.
¿Qué les gusta hacer? Ver vídeos, pasan delante de pantallas.
General, otros 14 minutos.
Ajá.
En los preadolescentes, el aumento vino más de redes sociales y navegar por webs, aunque un poco menos que en los mayores. Parece que el consumo pasivo y la interacción social digital pues fueron los grandes ganadores, digamos.
Y aquí viene yo.
So that's pretty impressive. I'm seeing some people in there talking about how it's too real. So, hearing that the translate. Oh, okay. Can the interactive feature become an app? Oh, that sounds like good feedback.
What
So
was it? Can it become an app? Oh, I love. Well, there
Connect.
is. Oh, yeah, we didn't name this. There is a NotebookLM app on your
Mm,
phone that will allow you, if you just want to listen to your audio overviews while you're traveling, right? Similar to a podcasting app, you could have your own, all of your audio overviews created. I know for myself, when I'm learning new content, if I have a large text file, instead of me going and reading the full text file, I actually have that go into a notebook and create an audio overview and then listen through it. Similar, if any of us are trying to navigate how to use our understanding our health benefits or understanding our retirement packages, like really pointing to that in Notebook LM and now chatting against the documentation so that you understand what you can or can't do with regard to your benefits and so on. It's been really, really helpful. Chancellor's regs, yes, all the things.
I'm
Um,
taking a website. Go ahead, Danita.
I was just going to say, everything is IRMA approved. So Notebook LM is already IRMA approved. We've already had approvals as it relates to the data privacy and all of that. In terms of access, now it's more so at the school district level, your leadership as well as your building principals leadership need to make that decision on whether or not you want to enable functionality like this for your students. So that's where we are now. And so that's where requesting is going to need to take place, and then actually going through that full process to determine how and when you all want to enable that functionality for your students. Currently, though, all of your audio overviews that you download, you can share with students. All of your video overviews that you download, you can share with your students. You just can't have them interact in that full-on like chat experience. Even within classroom, the feature is there, but you have to, as a school district and as an individual school, be able to turn that functionality on for your schools. So just wanted to name that because there's a lot of questions that are going in the chat and people are confused, like, wait, they can do it, but then students can't create it. No, that's not the case. Students cannot be receivers of your full-on notebook until that access has been granted. So I wanted to name that.
Thank you.
Yep.
We went over a lot here. I would love to hear in the chat, how are people feeling about this? How do you feel like this could support your work? So feel free to put in the chat. You've seen how this can analyze documents, specific sources. It can create the audio overviews, the video overviews. We can make some flashcards. How do you see yourself using Notebook LM in the work that you do? Please, if you feel inclined, please add it to the chat. Trying to see what these flashcards look like. Okay, special education, very nice. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. For math content, great. Reviews for exams, absolutely. This is fantastic for review process. Oh wow, yes, 99% of your students are L's, E&L students. Very nice, yeah. And as Danita mentioned, as we mentioned before, you can create these audio overviews and you can download them, and then you can put them in Google Classroom or your website or what have you. And so again, just like one more time, with these audio overviews, if you click on these three dots on the side, you can rename it, you can download it. Okay, so I recommend downloading it. You can share. You can
I,
share the audio overview. Yeah, go ahead, Danita.
I was also going to say, Santi, can you go to settings next to share?
Yes.
So we're showing you, go down to the output language. So that was what we showed you, is how you can change the audio overview language. I saw somebody ask about Creole Haitian. My best friend's Haitian. She'd be very proud. So Creole Haitian's right there. But I did also want to highlight, and if you scroll down, I think Latin America, they were asking about Spanish. Just show those three options. Go up to Espanol. It's the E. It goes, starts with the E. But I wanted to show, aside from creating the audio overviews in a different language, you can also configure the chat. So a student and or yourself or whoever could be chatting in a different language and have the output of the chat be in that language as well, not limited just to the translations of the audio overviews and the video overview outputs. So wanted to show that. And then also next to chat, across the right, there's like three lines to the left of studio. So you see the word studio.
I just wanted to test that. So I
Oh,
changed output
oh yeah.
language to Spanish. So it gives you an idea of how it's translating it. Apologies if the text is too small, but that was instant. And as Danita was saying, so you upload something in English, You upload, you go to this gear icon and you change the output language we change it to Spanish. And here you go. It does that. So Danita, you were saying go here, go where now?
Yep. So that was output language. And then to the chat where it says refresh, like just to scroll, like exit out of this little, yep, and then to the right, yep, right there. So here's another thing you can do within your chat experience. You can change the length of the types of responses that you want your chat to do. You can configure that. So you see right now it's set to default. I can click learning guide in the middle. And so now when whoever is actually engaging with my chat, instead of just giving me an answer, it can guide me and help me get a step-by-step process with regard to the output that I receive based on the content still that you upload. If you have YouTube videos you want to add as a source, or a website, whatever the case may be. If you select custom, Santi, really quickly, then I can actually say respond as a third grade teacher, right? Respond. So I can take really complex materials. And this is what I found a lot of my AP physics teachers doing, or AP calculus teachers. They'll put in complex content, but then have it respond at the grade level of the students that they're teaching. And it's taking these really hard to grapple resources and breaking it down at a level. And so just so you all know, I get to work with a lot of school districts. So I'm seeing how all of these how other different districts are using all this functionality with their students. So that's why I wanted to name all the other, since we're doing our deep dive, naming all the other features and ways that you can embed this and use this, even as adults peer-to-peer, and even as you're engaging and creating resources and understanding content for yourself as a teacher as well.
Somebody asked about the flashcards. I've not used them often, but this looks cool. So this made flashcards related to that AT family guide. So this is great. So this is amazing for studying. What is the primary purpose of AT? You click on it to see the answer. Wow. And you can click on explain. That's amazing. It brings you to the chat and it's going to give you a detailed response based on the uploaded source. And it's still in Spanish. So we've seen a lot of AI tools out there. I've not seen one like NotebookLM. This is why this is one of my favorite AI tools, especially for education, because this is such a powerful tool for learning, not just for your students, but for yourself as an adult educator. I'll show one more. Slant boards, low tech devices. Very cool. Okay.
Santi, can you just quickly show, so in chat, the question was like, how do you configure the chat? That seemed really cool. So to the right of refresh in chat, like if you go into that chat pane, to the right, see those 3 horizontal lines? That's where you go to configure. And I always encourage people, click everything, like click around, play around, you'll find new things as you're going through. We're always adding new features as well and functionality. So, yeah.
Yvette, did you have your hand up? I feel like it was up for a while. No? Okay. Let me know if you have any questions. And then somebody was asking about languages. So again, if you go to this gear icon, output language, you have a bunch on here. It'll be so there's over 50. So I suggest you open up the notebook, click on the gear, and scroll through, see if it contains the language that you're looking for. Okay. Will students be eventually able to create their own notebooks?
Again, that's something that you would have to make sure that your principal, like you're going to have to advocate, right? You're going to have to say like, we want them to have access to this. And then as it relates to permissions, as it relates to data protections, all that stuff, Google's done all that legwork. Everything is available for all ages as it relates to NotebookLM, as it relates to Gemini. You heard that phrase, all ages. So you can imagine at your senior leadership level, they're not simply going to turn it on for everyone, at least not at this point in time. It's too early for your district to make that decision. They're really leaning on the guidance of pedagogical experts or the guidance of your principals or whoever, your superintendents, to be able to make that case of this is something that we want our community to have access to as well. So that's how you would go about doing that. The only other thing I would say, there are questions around like, okay, I can create a flashcards. What else can I create? I would just encourage you, I don't know if we have time, if you open one up, click reports. Yep, if you click reports, now you can go in and create a study guide, right? So if you create content or you have materials that are uploaded here, you can actually have a study guide that you create that includes a glossary. So I think there's a question around like I want to pull out certain words and have it be able to create it based off of that. Try looking at the reports as well. We didn't go in that one in detail, but again, click in that studio. That is your spot where you can where you can click through, configure, make changes, give prompts, and all those things directly there. So make sure you're clicking around because there's a lot of features that you have access to.
I know we have about 10 minutes left. I just put in the chat a link to our feedback form. Please take 2 minutes and answer that. Well, 10 minutes is a long time. I'm surprised we have that much time left, but we'll be around here answering any questions. But take this time to play around with NotebookLM. You know, like you all, I'm sure many of you have created your notebook, you've uploaded your sources. Think about other use cases. Maybe there are two sources that you want to, compare and contrast. You can do that. Maybe you want to upload, again, a page from the curriculum that you're working on or something similar and getting insights from that.
Yeah, I was gonna also name, there were questions around like, okay, I love the language thing, and Google we took that approach of actually having the languages be in the language when you configure the settings. But I understand this challenge of like, wait, we are now unable to see which language or I recognize the language that I want to use for my students or for my community. So yeah, definitely something that's great feedback to share with our team. And as you may know, but all of these, if you click within a notebook really quickly, top right-hand corner in settings, see where it says send feedback, select that feedback. We are very responsive, not only now, but all the time, but really right now, especially with regard to everything that we're doing centered around AI and all of our products. So put that feedback in there. Make sure you let them know, like, hey, I, as a teacher, am using this for this reason, whatever the case may be, because our product team is looking at this and then prioritizing what they include. Because I could see why you would want to have that be in a language that you can recognize. You can also see why a student and or someone who actually lives in India wants to be able to see their language in their language, not in a way where someone in America can recognize that, if that makes sense. So yeah, our product team, thankfully, I don't have to make those decisions.
Danita, Robin put a question in the Q&A. First of all, shout out to Robin. What category does the principal need to put the ticket under?
I don't know the category. Zach, I think, is on the call. I don't know if he's still here, but
Access
I
to
know.
application can work. So technical support, I believe it's called apps, and then access to application.
Thank you.
Well, yeah. So as of right now, it's still hush, hush, nudge, nudge. So everyone who's here, congratulations, you're in the know. But more official things hopefully to come soon. But yeah, just open a ticket, get it to the service desk, and then if you have issues, you can feel free to reach out to me. Danita can pop my email in the chat. That way, it's not me saying it.
Thank you so
And
much.
for anyone on this recording, this did not happen. This is a figment of your imagination. This is generative AI hallucinating.
Yes, we're all hallucinating now. If you want a link to this slide deck, I'm putting it in the chat. And then people are asking about attendance. I have a slide here. Okay, first of all, the Tech Summit is coming up, the premier EdTech event for New York City schools, January 23rd, Brooklyn Tech. I'm sure you will receive more information about it. Again, this slide is in the slide deck. Also, I guess write down this code or like take a picture of it. I think you'll need this for attendance because you will be receiving an email. If you registered for this session via ProLearner/ProTracks, you will be getting an email, I think, asking for this attendance code, but keep that handy. And this is how you get your CTLE hours and attendance for this. And if you joined us outside of ProTracks and you need CTLE credit, just send me an email, and then I'll see what I can do. Yeah. So Debbie, yeah, that's beyond my pay grade. I think
So,
they'll email you and they'll fix it. But yes.
and then also wanted to name that every Friday, we do have office hours at 12 o'clock. So you can come in and ask any questions that you have. It's meant to be like a lunch and learn, very low key. You could pop in, pop out, ask any question. I tried this. I want to try this. Google, how do you go about addressing X? And we can answer it, not limited to NotebookLM, but also Gemini and all of our AI features. And then you also have, I added in the chat, ai.google/literacy to get asynchronous training and certification that is now available. To register for the Friday office hours, essentially that's just going to allow me to add it to your calendar invite without me assuming that this is something you want. I don't want to spam anybody, so I don't want to add all of you directly to the invite. So completing that form just lets me take your email address and add you to the invite. And then you can pop in whenever you have availability. We have teachers joining, principals joining, whoever is available and having questions. I also use that as a place to be able to share what's new with Google. So I have that every Friday at 12 p.m.
And so there are some other learning opportunities coming up. Let's see, EdTech portal. So if you have access to the EdTech portal, which you all should, there's information here about upcoming sessions, and I'm leading some in regards to the AI certification. So you're gonna have to, I guess, let's see if this happens live. Here we go. So that happened already. Hold on 1 second. Partner certification. So if you go to the EdTech portal and you search Google, there are some sessions come here. Get started with Google AI in K-12. So that's happening this Monday, and then there's one following the following Monday. This is all focused on getting the AI certification that is on that link that Danita put out, the ai.google/literacy. So there are some, mainly this one, Get Started with AI for K-12. So if you want to get a legitimate certificate from Google, sort of emphasizing that you as an educator understand how to leverage these tools for teaching and learning, and you want like a legit certificate, you can take this free course. Again, on the EdTech portal, you can register for that. That's happening this Monday and the Monday after, available to all New York City educators, free CTLE credits.
And you'll see there's also a families tab as well and a high school students tab there. So I'm getting questions. If you click high school students really at the top to filter, oh yeah, you're there.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, if you're there, however you got there. There's an AI quests portion. There's lesson plans for teachers where you can teach responsible AI use without having students have access. There's an AI quest that we created in partnership with Stanford. This is looking at how do you leverage AI for social good. So not limiting ourselves just to being able to understand how to use AI in the context of a chat experience or even a generative creation experience, but how is AI being used to control flooding and being able to protect our environment? So really helping to get students excited about using that. So all of these different tabs are AI Quest for elementary. I don't know what grade level it calls out here. I don't know if there's reading that's included, but there are lesson plans, and there's also the like Be Internet Awesome frameworks. I don't know if you're familiar with digital citizenship and Be Internet Awesome. There's also like a new set for grades 2 through grades 8, a whole documentation that helps you understand how to introduce AI to students and lesson planning around AI for students as well. So yeah. There's a lot that we offer. So if you're not familiar, again, one way that we really differentiate ourselves is that we are, oh yeah, there it is. We are a full like education first organization. And so when you're working with Gemini, you're going to feel that all of the access points with regard to AI have learning in mind, right? There's a learning guide functionality for that NotebookLM chat. So when you're chatting with it, it guides you to your learning and understanding. We want to generate curiosity. We want to help you be able to translate in multiple languages. We want to create additional tools like what you're seeing right here to help you introduce your students, whatever grade level they are, set grades 2 through 8 is what we're calling out here, into understanding what is AI without them having to actually touch a keyboard and select and type in and engage in that way, but helping them become more responsible multiple users. So all of that to say, excited for you to be able to be a part of the AI family as it relates to Google. Hopefully this is really helpful for you. This is just one of our AI tools that we have available for you. Gemini.google.com, definitely check that out as well. There's so much that you have access to there. Also in Google Classroom, jump on into that Gemini tab. So we've always been an AI first company with regard to rolling out these tools, but now we're really making a deliberate effort in partnership with New York City Public Schools to really build that out. Again, second largest offices in New York City. So we have a lot of parents who have children in New York City Public Schools. So they keep us honest as well. So please, I work here at Google and serve as your direct point of contact. Please keep the feedback coming, both in products and to us directly. Santi is able to provide all of the trainings for you. He's the one who put all of this together and was like, hey, Danita, I put this together. You want to pop in? So he's really leading the charge with regard to assigning and providing all of those trainings. So if your individual schools have desires for trainings, let us all know, because we can all work together, us, New York City Public Schools, as well as Project Recess, to make sure you have everything that you need as it relates to your learning journey. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Danita, always a pleasure. Folks, thank you so much. As Danita said, this is just the beginning. There are going to be so many more learning opportunities, both virtually and in person. Stay tuned. We will follow up with not only the recording, but the links to all the resources that we went over. Even if you didn't attend one of our sessions, I'll still send you the recording. So thank you so much. Go vote. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, everybody. I'll hang around a little bit if anybody has any questions. I think there are some hands up. Yeah. Charlene, do you have a question?
Do we want to stop recording, Santi, as well?
Yeah, good call. Okay. Hold on one second.
How many